Most people quit right before their money starts working, and they never even realize how close they were. Here's the part about investing nobody really warns you about. It's not hard because it's complicated. It's hard because for a long stretch, it doesn't feel like anything is happening at all. And that quiet stretch is exactly where most people give up. My name is Nathan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how investing actually works. Please show support for the channel and hit the subscribe button. It really helps, and it means a lot. Think about the last time you picked up something new. If you started playing guitar, your fingers hurt within a week, and you could hear yourself getting a little better, chord by chord. If you started jogging, your breathing changed within a handful of runs. If you worked a shift job, you got a paycheck a few days later that matched the hours you put in. Effort and results stayed close together. That's basically how everything else in life works. You do something, and pretty soon you can feel whether it's working. Investing breaks that pattern completely, and that's the part that trips people up. You open an account. You set up automatic contributions. You check in every so often. On paper, everything looks correct, but it doesn't feel like anything is building. Say you're putting in $200 a month. After a year, you've added $2,400, and your balance shows $2,500. Technically, that's exactly how it should work, but emotionally, it just feels like you moved money from one pocket to another with a small tip attached to it. Here's where it gets worse. Sometimes the feedback isn't just slow, it's negative. You do everything right. You avoid the obvious mistakes. You stay consistent. And your account still drops some months for reasons that have nothing to do with anything you did. It doesn't feel like failure exactly. It just feels like uncertainty that never fully resolves. If you've ever stared at a red number on your screen and wondered why you're even bothering, you're not alone, and you're definitely not doing anything wrong. That uncertainty piles up. After a year or two of this, people start wondering if any of it is actually working. So they check less. They ease off their contributions. They start treating their investments like background noise instead of something they're actively building, because nothing about the experience is confirming that it even matters. Most other parts of life don't ask you to wait this long for proof. School gives you grades every few weeks. Work gives you a paycheck every couple weeks. Even a hobby gives you small wins fast enough to keep you hooked. Investing asks you to keep showing up for years before it gives you anything close to a clear signal. That's a strange thing to ask of anyone. Here's a number that tends to catch people off guard. Most of the growth in a long-term investment doesn't happen evenly across the years. A big chunk of it tends to show up in a handful of unpredictable months, sometimes just a few days scattered across a decade. Miss those months because you pulled your money out during a boring stretch, and you don't just miss a little upside, you miss most of the entire point of investing in the first place. Read that again, because it matters. The growth isn't spread out evenly waiting for you to notice it. It shows up in bursts, and you only get to keep those bursts if you were already in the game when they happened. But here's the strange part. This is exactly the trap. The only way this ever pays off is by staying in it during the one stretch where it feels like nothing is happening. Investing doesn't speed up because you're paying attention to it, and it doesn't slow down because you stop checking. It just needs time, quietly, running in the background, whether you're watching closely or not. So people tend to split into two groups right here. Some stay in it. Others get bored and move that money towards something that feels immediate instead, like a new car or some other purchase that actually gives them proof of effort today. But watch what happens to the ones who stay. At some point, without any dramatic moment attached to it, the math starts working in their favor. Say you've been putting in $200 a month for 3 or 4 years, barely thinking about it. Then you log in after a strong stretch in the market and notice your account jumped by $4,000, while you only added $2,400 that year. For the first time, the growth doesn't line up with what you personally put in anymore. It's bigger than your effort. And that's when something starts to shift in how you see the whole thing. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe you glance at an old statement from 2 years back and realize the gap between that number and today's number is way more than you remember ever contributing. The growth happened quietly in the background while your attention was somewhere else completely. These moments don't feel huge when they happen. You don't post about it. You don't call anyone up to talk about it. But something shifts in how you read the whole process after that. You stop asking whether it's working, and you start assuming it just behaves this way over time. What used to feel like nothing starts to feel like a machine that only makes sense once you step back far enough to see the whole picture at once. And once that shift happens, it changes how you treat every flat, boring month that comes after it. That's the real difference between the people who build wealth and the people who don't. It's not intelligence. It's not some special trick nobody else knows about. It's not even discipline, at least not the way most people picture discipline. It's the simple ability to stay in something long enough that the quiet stretch stops feeling like proof it's failing you. Here's something worth sitting with. The version of you that gives up during the flat stretch and the version of you that stays are doing the exact same thing on the surface. Same contributions, same account, same boring statements showing up every month. The only difference is what happens next, and that difference only shows up for the person who stayed. Once you've watched that shift happen even once, even on a small scale, you stop reading a flat month as bad news. You start reading it as part of the process instead of a warning sign. That single change in how you interpret quiet progress is worth more than almost any tip about which fund to pick or which stock looks promising this month. Because the truth is, the strategy was never really the hard part. Plenty of people already know what to do. Put money in consistently. Keep costs low. Don't panic when the number drops. None of that is really a secret anymore. What actually separates people isn't information. It's whether they can sit through months that feel like nothing, while trusting that nothing is exactly what building looks like from the inside. The hard part was never understanding any of this. The hard part is staying long enough to actually see it for yourself. If this helped you look at your own money differently, share it with a friend or two. Please show your support and subscribe to the channel. It really helps and it means a lot.